as with my career overall, being a band leader has been divided sort of down two lines. I've made several jazz records, instrumental jazz records, featuring my guitar playing and featuring original compositions. I always feature original compositions, whether I'm singing or playing. But the instrumental records have tended to be jazzier. I made a record a few years ago with Larry Goldings on organ and Kenny Wollesen on drums called Buttermilk Channel, and that was my model then for. I love playing in an organ trio format. I think for a guitar player it's just the best because things can be really open or they can be really full. I always have emphasized in my records original compositions. You know, I've never wanted to make a record of Irving Berlin songs or Cole Porter songs, though I love them. I just figured that people have been making records of those songs for years and years, and a record is a special event. For me, if I'm going to spend the time, the money, the energy, and gather a bunch of people around a special event, for me the special event is some new music and some special people in a room and see what happens. Not to put down somebody else who wants to make a standard record, but that's just never what it's been. That's never been interesting for me. So I use records as kind of, the way I make records typically is I think of who I want to play with, I set a recording date, and then I work backwards from there with music. If today's the end of September, I say, you know, Christmas Day I want to make a record with these people. I make sure they're going to be in town, which is difficult because the better musicians that you want to play with, to get any one of them in one room at one time is hard, and then it gets exponentially more difficult to get your three favorite musicians in one room at one time. So then I just write music for those people. That seems like a kind of a no-brainer. So I've done that, and then I started to focus more on my own songwriting just in the last few years. Before that, I wouldn't have thought of singing on a record. I made a record in Memphis a few years ago called Get Your Glow On, and it's mostly instrumental. It's a sort of a Memphis-themed record. It's kind of a Booker T, soul journey kind of record, but I had some vocals on it. And for vocals, I hired professionals. I had the Holmes brothers sang on a track. Nora Jones sang on a track. Otis Clay sang on a track. And I thought that was the better idea. You know, get real singers in. And that was a good decision then, but now I'm more focused on singing. So the last two records that I've actually released are vocal records. One is called Loose Rhymes, and the newer one is called Washing Day. And I guess I approach them more or less the same as I did with the instrumental records. It's just that when I was making instrumental records, the guitar was the voice. And now my voice is the voice, but the guitar is still the voice. So on a good day, I'm probably Sam and Dave at the same time, you know, or I think of somebody like B.B. King, who is a solo, he's just a singer, but his guitar is part of the equation too, or Chuck Berry, or Jimi Hendrix, or any number of people who integrate the guitar. You know, Jimi Hendrix could have made an instrumental record, and I'd love to hear it if he did. B.B. King could make an instrumental record. I think he's recorded one or two instrumental sides that I'm aware of in his career. And it's fantastic. He really can make his guitar talk. But as far as how I approach it as a leader, all the things that I've learned as a sideman, I just flip in reverse as a leader, because I'm always looking at the people that I hire as, I've spent a lot more time in their shoes, you know, than being a leader. Spent a lot more time in recording sessions waiting for somebody to say, hey, here's what we're going to do, than being the guy who says, here's what we're going to do. So I try, and when I say things to the band, well, for one thing, I try and hire the right people in the first place. I hire people who I know what they do. I'm not going to get people in a room and then try and ask them to do impossible, uncomfortable things. You hire the right people for what your vision is, and then you just adjust a little bit, you know.